Nobody respects emotionally weak men, not society, not women, not even other men, because emotional weakness destroys masculine presence. The modern world has trained men to become emotionally unstable, overreacting to everything, seeking validation constantly, unable to control anger, unable to control fear, unable to control themselves. And the worst part is, most men think this is normal now. They confuse emotional reactions with honesty. They confuse weakness with vulnerability. But uncontrolled emotions make a man predictable, easy to manipulate, easy to control, easy to ignore. That's why emotionally weak men are rarely respected, because people can feel instability immediately. They can feel desperation, neediness, lack of control. And once a man loses emotional control, he slowly loses power over his own life. Strong men feel emotions too, but they are not controlled by them. That is the difference. Modern men are emotionally exhausted, not because life became harder, but because they lost control over their own minds. Every small problem affects them. Every criticism destroys their mood. Every rejection feels personal. And the social media made this even worse. Now men constantly compare themselves to others. They seek approval from strangers. Attention became an addiction. Validation became emotional survival. And slowly, their emotional state started depending on external reactions. A comment, a message, a notification, a woman replying, a woman ignoring them. Everything affects them emotionally, and now that is why so many men feel mentally unstable. Their emotions change every hour. Their confidence disappears instantly. Their mood depends on the outside world. And men who cannot control their emotions eventually lose control over their decisions too, because emotional men become reactive, and reactive men are easy to manipulate. The world takes advantage of emotionally weak men because emotional men are predictable. They react too quickly, they get attached too easily, they lose control too fast. And once people understand your emotions control you, they understand they can control you too. That is why emotionally weak men are rarely respected. People may tolerate them, use them, manipulate them, but deep respect is different. Respect comes from emotional stability, from calmness under pressure, from self-control. Most men today cannot stay emotionally grounded for long. They panic too quickly. They chase attention too desperately. They become angry too easily. And modern society profits from this weakness because distracted emotional men consume more, react more, depend more. Weak emotional control creates weak decisions, and weak decisions slowly destroy a man's future. That is why emotional discipline is power, because the man who controls himself becomes difficult to manipulate. Being emotionally strong does not mean feeling nothing. It means staying in control even when emotions appear. Strong men still feel anger, still feel fear, still feel rejection, still feel pressure. The difference is they do not allow emotions to control their behavior. Most emotionally weak men react immediately. They speak without thinking. They make decisions while angry. They seek validation when they feel insecure. And later, they regret the consequences. Emotional discipline changes everything because calm men think clearly under pressure. They do not waste energy proving themselves constantly. They do not need attention from everyone around them. And they do not fall apart every time life becomes uncomfortable. That is why emotional control creates presence. People trust calm men more. They respect calm men more because emotional stability feels powerful, especially in a world where most people constantly lose control of themselves. Emotionally disciplined men move differently. They do not react to everything. They do not need to win every argument. They do not waste energy trying to impress people constantly. And because of that, their presence feels calmer, stronger, more grounded. Most people today are emotionally impulsive, always reacting, always proving, always seeking attention. But emotional discipline creates something rare now: silence, clarity, control. That is why emotionally strong men often say less, they observe more, they think before reacting, and they stay composed when others lose control. This does not make them emotionless. It makes them dangerous in a different way, because calm men become difficult to shake emotionally. And once a man develops emotional discipline, he starts seeing the world differently. He stops chasing validation, stops reacting impulsively, stops needing approval from everyone around him, and that changes the way people see him too. Emotionally controlled men became rare. Most people today live entirely through reactions. They react to stress, to rejection, to criticism, to attention, to social media. But men who stay calm under pressure immediately stand out, because emotional control creates a stability, and the stability creates respect. That is why calm men often appear more confident. Even when they say very little, they are not trying to dominate every room. They simply control themselves. And in a world full of emotional noise, that becomes powerful, because the man who controls his emotions usually controls his decisions too. Weak men are controlled by emotions. Strong men control themselves. That is the difference most people never understand. Real strength is not loud, it is calm, controlled, focused. A man who controls his emotions thinks more clearly, moves more carefully, and becomes harder to manipulate. That is why emotional discipline changes everything. Because once a man stops reacting emotionally to every situation, he starts taking control of his own life again.